Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to Centurions Review, the punk rock band of war game review institutions. This is War of the Worlds from DVG. I just played this game. This isn't a normal first look video. First look video is a unboxing that goes through the sequence of play and a little bit of the rule book. This is more of my first thoughts after the first game. Let's open it up, and actually let's look at the back and see what it says. Says it's strategic and tactical individual tripods. For one player, it's just a solo game. Complexity low. I'd put it low, closer to medium, but it is easy to learn. I had no trouble learning it. It says 30 to 90 minutes per game. Well, to read the rule book, set up the game, and play my first game took a total of maybe 5.5 hours. So maybe you can play 30 to 90 minute games after you get really used to playing the game, but your first game's not going to be 30 to 90 minutes unless you get like beaten real quick or something. But let's take a look inside. Alright, the rule book's in color. The rule book's not bad. Actually, it's good. It is a good rule book. All in color, like I said. Sequence of play is easy to follow. I had no trouble learning the game. So let's go over the sequence of play. It starts with the production phase where you get production points. Basically, they're equal to the total number of gears that are on the map. I'll get to that later. These are little gear things you put on the map, like that one's equal to 8, so you add them all up. And that's the purchase points you have. And so you can buy infantry. Infantry can be used to place sandbags on your cannon units when you're having a land battle off the board. You got cavalry you can buy. They can get you battle plans, and they can also change a wave's movement destination. Here's a field gun that fires 1 shot per turn. Siege gun fires 2 shots. It takes two hits to kill a tripod. The first one damages it, and the second one kills it. Then you have a battle phase. This is for land battle. If you have a wave in an area that you're in, you'll have a land battle. The land battle you set up on a battle board. Let's see if I can get that out of here. Here's the battle board. So you'll set up your cannon units down here, and you'll set up any infantry or refugees that are on the map have to go on the bottom here. And the tripods, depending on what card's drawn, shows what color tripod goes in which space here, and that's where they'll start. And there's battle cards that are drawn that show which way the tripods move. So depending on the color, like this one would fire and then move down and to the left. Most movement is down. And detecting, if you get a successful detection, that removes a sandbag from a cannon. And once all the sandbags are gone, the cannon can be attacked. One other thing with the sandbags, if a cannon fires, every time it fires, 1 sandbag is removed. So if a tripod comes down here and gets on one of your cannon units, your cannon unit is destroyed. Or if it gets down here and you have some infantry down here, refugees, it will capture those infantry or refugees. So you're trying to destroy the tripods before they destroy your units or get off the map. And there's also battle plans that you can order. These are little items. I think you could spend 10 and pick the one you want, and if you spend 5, you randomly draw 1 battle plan, but they do little things to help you during battle, like reroll a die. Or explosive shell is nice. It damages, if you do an attack that just damages a tripod, this will completely destroy it. So essentially it does 2 hits instead of 1 hit to a tripod, and there's surprise shot and terrain and all sorts of other stuff. Alright, and then there's the devastation phase. If you have a wave in an area, you'll roll for the tripods. Depending on how many tripods are in that wave, it'll do certain things. Like if you had 4 tripods in the wave and you rolled yellow, it would put a -4 to the production value of that area, which is really bad. And then it will give you 2 refugees, or it will take away 2 victory points. So during the Martian devastation phase, it hurts you every time. All right, and then there's a human action phase. If you have infantry on the board, well, your stuff can move, or your infantry can do a cylinder attack, and when they attack a cylinder, it destroys one of their, or it damages one of, excuse me, destroys, not damages, one of the tripods in the cylinder. The ones in the cylinder are off the board. They're waiting for a wave to come in, and then they'll be able to battle you. So with the cylinder attack, you can reduce the amount that will come in with the wave. And you can also use infantry to place powder kegs. You put powder kegs on an area where a wave hasn't arrived yet, and if you successfully get the powder keg there when the wave arrives, you roll, and the powder keg can do 1 damage to the wave or 2 damage to it, or no effect. One thing with this game, anything you do with infantry or stuff, there's always a possibility it kills the infantry. So if you're trying to put down a powder keg and you roll green, they'll place a powder keg, or if you roll yellow, your infantry will be destroyed, or if you roll red, nothing will happen. So you must have like really klutzy troops or something in this, because there's always a possibility when they do something that they can kill themselves in the process. It's kind of goofy. And there's refugees escape. If you have refugees, they can go to, and if they're in an area that happens to have harbor, they can try to escape. And so when they try to escape, they roll to see if they flee. And if they do, then they roll to see if they flee successfully in the ship, or that's if they roll green, or if they roll yellow, there's a naval battle with 1 tripod, or red, naval battle with 2 tripods. And earlier in the game, you could have bought, in the first production phase, if you bought a warship, you can use the warship to help protect you. So if you have a freighter starting here, you can place the warship wherever, and then you get the tripods wherever they started, and the warship can attract the tripod's attention away from you, because each turn your freighter will go down 1, next turn 2, 3, 4 before it's off the map. So you're just trying to protect your freighter to get the refugees out of there. And let's see, there's also another thing in here called too many refugees in a zone. So each zone has a production value, and if you have more refugees than the production value of the zone, then the additional refugees are captured. And so after this, after this phase, you gain 1 human victory point for every producing zone, and 1 human victory point for every refugee or freighter that has successfully escaped. So whenever your human victory points hit 10, your germ counter goes up 1. And the point of that is when your germ counter gets to 10, then you've won the game. I guess you've given the tripods the cold or the flu or something, and they're destroyed. That's one quick way to win the game. Alright, and then as far as new cylinders land, when your germ counter gets to the 3rd space, a new cylinder lands, or when it gets to 4, another one lands, or to the 9th, the 5th cylinder lands, and these cylinders can turn into waves, which are nasty. And here's the Martian action phase. So each area on the map where there's a wave, you'll roll for this, and it can cause the wave to move, or it can cause a new tripod to arrive, or it can cause you to add a new token to the flying machine. The flying machine, that's this thing here, takes four counters to create it, and once that's created, it's an automatic lose for the human, so you don't want that to be created. And there's the last is the assembly phase. During the assembly phase, each cylinder rolls a die. If the color of the die matches the color of the handling machine in that zone, the cylinder counter is replaced with its wave counter, so that's how waves enter. And it's got some scenarios here. It's got 4 of them. You can actually play the game without doing one of the scenarios. You can just use the regular rules too if you wish. The scenarios just add on to the rules. There's 2 things I forgot to tell you. First is zone destruction. For each destroyed zone each turn, the Martian, you'll roll to see if it's flipped to a red weed zone. And at the end of the turn, the Martians get 2 Martian victory points for each destroyed zone each turn, and they get 4 victory points for each red weed zone each turn. And whenever the Martian victory point level reaches 10, advance the colonization counter by 1. Reason that matters is because if the colonization counter gets to 10, you are defeated. And so the other thing I forgot is to completely go over the victory conditions. If there are no wave or cylinder counters on the strategic map, you win instantly. If the human germ counter goes to the 10 space on the progress track, you win. If the Martian colonization counter is in the 10 space on the progress track, you lose. And if London is destroyed, you lose. So let me show you the rest of the components. This right here is for the League of Nations, which is if you have the other versions of this game for the other countries, you can use them all at once with this. I didn't really read the rules on that since I only have the one thing, or the one copy of the game, but here's the player aid card. It's got some information on different phases. Production phase. On here it shows that you can buy the warship, which is good because in the book it didn't mention that you could buy the warship until a later phase where it said you had to have bought it in the production phase. So I guess they corrected it on the player aid card. It's got table for new cylinder placement, human action phase, attack on a cylinder, powder keg placement, powder keg damage, the escape phase, different tables, Martian action phase, and for the battle phase, and tells you what the different tripod special actions are or what the different battle plans are. And here's a devastation phase table. Let's look at the map. It's a mounted map. It's actually a pretty nice map. When I first looked at it, I foolishly thought London was missing. And then I looked on the map and I was like, that looks like probably London's right around there. And I was like, they must have forgot to put it on the map. And then later on, I was looking, actually London's right here underneath the magnifying glass. It's just magnifying that area there so you can fit in counters and stuff. So London is indeed on the map. I just didn't notice it at first. And it's got the sequence of play right here. And you move a clock counter down to keep track of that. And as the Martians are building the flying machine, you put the counters there. And here are the staging areas for the different waves. Wave 1 stages its tripods there. Wave 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you see the different areas on the map here, and you put counters on that have the production points here, or whether the area is devastated. And here's where you keep track of the victory points and the other markers here. Alright, show you the playing pieces now. Playing pieces, they're good and they're bad. They're good in that they're stand-ups, I'll show you. They're bad in that they didn't include enough bases for the stand-ups. Yeah, I mean, they got a damaged side and a regular side. They look alright, but they just didn't include enough bases for all of the stand-ups, which I thought was kind of odd. The dice have 3 green on it, and I think 2 yellow and 1 red. And there's 2 dice, and the rest of the counters, I got them in a bag here, but the problem is they have this custom insert for the box, and the custom insert is not big enough to hold all the components. I mean, it'll hold the 2 decks of cards here. And another thing that I was annoyed with is it didn't include any plastic bags to store the parts, which I thought was odd. These are my plastic bags. Yeah, so you can see this stuff does not fit in here well. In order to get everything to fit, you'd have to throw out this custom insert, which I would do, but this isn't actually my game. My dad bought this game and he didn't have time to read the rules, so I told him I'd borrow it and read the rules and show him how to play it. But after the first game, I got my ass handed to me on a sleeve. I did not win the first game, and it took much longer than the 30 to 90 minutes they say a typical game takes. So maybe after multiple plays, I'll be able to finish the game quicker. But yeah, it's a solitaire only game. I'm going to play it again tomorrow and stuff. So this is not a review, what you just saw here. This is mostly just, I guess you would call the first impression video, meaning I've played the game once, and this is what I think of it so far. After playing it, 3, 4, 5 times, I may have a totally different opinion of it. But so far, I'd say it's okay. I'm just disappointed that they didn't have enough stands for all the counters, and I'm also disappointed that the insert for the game is essentially too small. So if this was my game, I would throw the whole insert out and just have the stuff in the bottom of the box, because the way it is, you can barely put the top of the box on once you put all the parts in, so that's a problem. Anyhow, just wanted to show you guys this. Hope everything's going well with everyone, and stay safe and have a good weekend.